All right, today we're going to break down one of the most fundamental building blocks of geometry, angles. And believe it or not, we're going to do it all with this simple little guide right here. Seriously, by the time we're done, you're going to start seeing these shapes absolutely everywhere.
Okay, let's take a look. I mean, at first glance, yeah, it's just some Q-tips arranged on blue paper. But what if I told you that these simple shapes are kind of like a secret language? It's the language behind architecture, art, even nature itself. So what can a few Q-tips teach us about the world? Well, let's find out.
So before we jumped into all the different types of angles you see here, we have to start with the most basic question of all. What even is an angle? I mean, it's the foundation for literally everything we're about to cover.
And here's the deal. It's super simple. An angle is just that space, that little gap, that's created when two lines meet at a point. And we measure that space in units called degrees. You know, think of it like opening a door. The further the door swings open, the bigger the angle, and the more degrees it has. Simple as that.
All right, now for the fun part. We're going to kick things off with the angles you see like all the time, probably without even noticing. We'll start small and work our way up. First stop, the acute angle. Just look at it. See how the Q-tips make that sharp, kind of pointy shape? That's not a coincidence. The word acute actually means sharp. It's small, it's tight, it honestly looks like it could poke you. And here's the rule you gotta remember. An acute angle is anything that measures less than 90 degrees. Think of a really thin slice of pizza, or the very tip of a sharp pencil. It's basically any corner that's tighter than a perfect square. And that brings us to this one, the right angle. This one is probably the most famous angle of them all. You can see how the Q-tips form a perfect L shape. That's the corner you see everywhere. Now the crucial thing here is that a right angle isn't less than or more than anything. It is exactly 90 degrees, no more, no less. It's the corner of the screen you're looking at, the corner of a book, the corner of a window frame. It's the definition of a square corner.
So let's do a quick side-by-side. If it's a sharp, pointy corner that's smaller than a perfect square, it's acute. If it is that perfect square corner, it's a right angle. See the difference? Less than 90 versus exactly 90. So, we've covered the tight, sharp corners. But what happens when our lines keep opening up, swinging right past that perfect 90-degree mark? Well, that's where things get a little more relaxed. And here we go. This is a perfect example of our next one, the obtuse angle. You can just see that the space between the Q-tips is way wider now. It's a more open, kind of laid-back angle compared to the sharp acute or the rigid right angle. So the rule for an obtuse angle is that it has to be greater than 90 degrees, but still less than 180. It's opened up past that perfect square corner, but it hasn't completely flattened out just yet. Think of a reclining chair leaning back, or maybe the hands on a clock at, say, 4 o'clock. Now, watch what happens when we keep opening that angle as far as it can possibly go. Bam! We get a straight angle. The two Q-tips don't even look like an angle anymore. They form one single, continuous, perfectly flat line. A straight angle measures exactly 180 degrees. And if you think about it, it's basically just two 90-degree right angles sitting side by side. This is the angle of a flat tabletop, a ruler, a straight line. Okay, so we've gone from a tiny point all the way to a completely flat line. But guess what? The journey isn't over. What happens when one of those lines just keeps going past 180 degrees and starts wrapping all the way back around?
This brings us to a slightly trickier one, the reflex angle. Now the key here is that it's the larger angle on the outside. Okay, try this. Make a peace sign with your fingers. The small V shape between your fingers is acute, but that big angle that wraps around the outside of your hand, that's the reflex angle.
So, a reflex angle is any angle that's bigger than a 180 degree straight line, but it hasn't made a full circle yet. It's more than a half turn, but it's not a full spin. And that leads us to our grand finale, the complete angle. This is what happens when one line rotates all the way around, a full circle, and lands right back on top of where it started. The journey is complete.
A complete angle is exactly 360 degrees. It represents one full rotation, one complete circle. This is the basis for how compasses work, how we draw circles, and how we measure turns in everything from skateboarding to astronomy. It's a big one.
So, there you have it, the 6 fundamental types of angles that together describe every corner, every bend, and every turn you can possibly imagine. So let's do a really quick rapid-fire recap just to lock it all in. You ready? Let's go. Acute, that's the sharp one, less than 90. Right, the perfect corner, exactly 90. Obtuse, the wide one, between 90 and 180. Straight, a flat line, exactly 180. Reflex, the big one on the outside, more than 180. And finally, complete, the full circle, exactly 360. Got it? And that kind of brings us to our final thought. Geometry isn't just something you find in a textbook, right? It's the literal framework of the world around you. So I'll leave you with this question. Just take a look around the room you're in right now. How many right angles can you spot? The corner of your screen, your window, that book on your desk? Go ahead, give it a try. I bet you'll be surprised once you start really looking.